In the business world, it's dog eat dog, and you need every bit of competitive edge you can possibly get. Whether you're a salesperson, an entrepreneur, a small business owner, or corporate executive, you've landed on the podcast that gives you that edge and more. This is the Business Coach Unplugged Podcast. Exploring the strategies, tactics, and mindset shifts needed to elevate your business and leadership skills to new heights. Your host has walked the walk. He's coached thousands of clients to remarkable results and rubbed shoulders with legends like Tony Robbins, Ken Blanchard, Jack Canfield, and Brian Tracy. It's practical advice, inspiring stories, and the occasional dose of tough love, helping you to overcome challenges and seize opportunities. This is the Business Coach Unplugged Podcast. And now your host, owner of Potential in Motion, coaching you to the edge of what's possible, Tom Kelly.
Welcome to the Business Coach Unplugged Podcast. I'm your host, Tom Kelly. It's a beautiful fall day today here in Chicago. It actually feels like summer, though, as we're pushing 80 degrees, which is a little unexpected for this time of year. That's probably a great segue into today's topic, which is leading in times of uncertainty. Over the last 4 years, we've had a lot of uncertainty to deal with. From a global pandemic to wars and social unrest, to large amounts of destruction from weather events, to inflation and economic turbulence, to the upcoming elections and the introduction of new technologies like digital currencies and artificial intelligence that will revolutionize how we live and do business, there's no shortage of uncertainty right now. And it seems like we're just getting started. Whether you're leading a business, an organization, or even just yourself and your family, leading anything right now is a major challenge, and that's an understatement. So as a leader, how do you effectively lead during times of uncertainty? In today's episode, I'm going to explore the topic of leading in times of uncertainty. I'll go through some key stats on the topic, and then I'll give you my 10 key tips to help you be a better leader during a crisis. By the end of the podcast, you'll have a better grasp on how to lead through uncertainty, along with some tips and tools that will help you elevate your leadership in times of turmoil. So, let's jump in and get started. There are a number of recent studies and reports that have been done on this topic, and here are some of their findings. According to the Killer Innovations Podcast, over 40% of business leaders feel ill-equipped to manage their teams in times of uncertainty. Most admit they struggle with decision-making and fostering a positive network. According to the Killer Innovations Podcast, over 40% of business leaders feel ill-equipped to manage their teams in times of uncertainty. Most admit they struggle with decision-making and fostering a positive work environment during unpredictable times. In the New Era of Leadership 2024 report released by Chief, a private network women rely on to maximize their leadership impact, researchers found that 54% of CEOs expect leadership to be more challenging than ever. And according to a McKinsey Global Resilience Survey, only 31% of leaders feel they're ready to meet the challenges ahead. If you're like most leaders that I work with on a daily basis, you can probably relate to this. Obviously, these statistics don't paint a rosy picture when it comes to the ability of our leaders to manage and lead during uncertain times. The reality is that leadership is already challenging, and with the accelerated pace of change, it's only getting worse. So what can we do to better equip ourselves to be the best leaders we can be during times of uncertainty? Here are my top 10 tips that will help you take your leadership to the next level when dealing with uncertainty and the fast pace of change. My first tip is managing your emotional state. The most critical thing to being a great leader during uncertainty is to manage your emotional state. If you're making decisions from a place of fear, you're almost guaranteed to make bad decisions. You have to put yourself into a resourceful state of certainty and then make decisions from that place. I always tell my clients that 80% of every result you create is based on your mindset and 20% is based on your strategy. So, how do you manage your emotional state? There are lots of different things you can do. Some people meditate, some people grab a quick workout, and others simply think of a challenging time from their past when they rose to the occasion and overcame the obstacle in front of them. However you do it, getting into an empowering state is the first thing you have to do when you're leading through uncertainty. My second tip is ask better questions. Over the last couple of years, I've been coaching all sorts of leaders and business owners through some of the most trying times they've ever been through. One of the key things that's helped empower them to make great decisions and turn a bad situation into a great situation was simply asking them better questions. One of the best questions you can ask yourself during times of uncertainty is, what's the opportunity? This simple question has helped a number of my clients look at things from a completely different perspective and oftentimes turn a dire situation into an empowering one. It can help you refocus yourself too. If you're looking for a great resource on how to ask better questions, one of my favorite books on the topic is Change Your Questions, Change Your Life by Mary Lee Adams. This is a great resource that will take your question game to the next level. Believe me, it will be one of your favorite books also. My third tip is listen. As a leadership coach, one of the things that I know will absolutely make you a better leader is to improve your listening skills. In fact, listening is one of the leadership competencies that improves every single other leadership competency that you have. This skill is often underutilized and is absolutely critical to tap into when you're leading through uncertainty. My fourth tip is anticipate what's coming next. I always say that great leaders anticipate what's coming next and they have a plan for it. When you're leading through a crisis, you have to be strategic with your actions and really thinking a couple steps ahead. Having multiple backup plans and thinking 3 or 4 moves ahead is critical. The key to mastering the skill is to create the space to do so. It's hard to be creative and think strategically when you're being bombarded with information from every direction. So create an hour or 2 in your week where you can close the door, shut everything off, and just have time to think things through. Additionally, having a great coach to work with you can help you master the skill as well. My tip number 5 is make fear your friend. Fear is your friend. It's meant to protect you. So if you're afraid of something, the best thing you can do is sit down and have a conversation with your fear. What is it afraid of? What is it telling you that you need to address? What would need to happen to assuage your fear or at least minimize it? By making fear your friend and listening to what it's telling you, you can create a solid plan to address what it's trying to tell you. Tip number 6 is leverage your team and take partners. Would you rather have one person trying to solve the problem or multiple people trying to solve the problem? Sometimes as a leader, we feel that we need to do everything ourselves. During times of uncertainty, the best thing that you can do is to tap the knowledge of your team as well as your peers and other advisors. Ultimately, you're going to make the decision, but listening to the viewpoints and insights of others, it's going to help you make the right decision. Also, when you tap into other people, they're going to respect you more for listening to them. Tip number 7 is invest in yourself. One of the best investments you can make in yourself as a leader is to get a great coach. A great coach can provide you with the tools, support, structure, and accountability to become a better leader. Additionally, having someone on your side that can coach you through the uncertain times and support you when you need that support is incredibly valuable. Most great leaders and people that generate outstanding results all have a coach, so don't hesitate to make this investment in yourself, as it will generate a massive return on your investment of time and money. Tip number 8 is to practice extreme self-care. When you're in crisis mode and there's a lot at stake, one of the most important things that you can do is practice extreme self-care. What is extreme self-care? It's taking care of yourself in an extreme way. Making sure that you're getting enough sleep, eating well, exercising, and keeping your stress levels as low as possible are super important during times of uncertainty. Getting a massage, taking a vacation, doing a dietary cleanse, or working with a personal trainer are all examples of practicing extreme self-care. I always tell my clients wherever you go, there you are, meaning that if you're on no sleep, massively stressed, and not on your game, that's going to follow you wherever you are in your life. If you want to be able to play at the top of your game, practicing extreme self-care is non-negotiable. Tip number 9 is realizing that you can't fail. I have a personal belief that there's no such thing as failure, only results. Whatever result you generate either brings you closer to your outcome or further away, and it serves you in some way. So whatever happens, you simply adjust your actions accordingly and keep working towards the outcome. This thought process removes fear from the equation and helps you take bold actions in spite of the uncertainty that you might be dealing with. This is incredibly helpful and will set you free from any stress or fear that you may have when the stakes are high. My final tip is practice empathy. Great leaders have empathy, and this skill is even more important when there's a lot of uncertainty. The ability to understand what your team is going through and the feelings that they have during a crisis are incredibly important if you want to be effective. To make outstanding decisions and create great results as a leader, you have to be able to build rapport and influence others. The key to this starts with having empathy, not only for those you are leading, but also for yourself. When you're leading during uncertain times, leveraging some or even all of these tips will help you be a better leader, make better decisions, and turn uncertainty into certainty for you and those you lead. Remember, being a great leader isn't easy. If it was, everyone would be one. Keep working at it and leverage these tips to take your leadership skills to the next level. So, just to recap, here are my 10 tips to leading in times of uncertainty. Tip number 1, manage your emotional state. Remember that 80% of the results you create are based on your mindset. So if you want to be a great leader, you have to manage your emotions. Tip number 2, ask better questions. Asking great questions prompts your brain to come up with better answers. This is crucial when you have to make tough decisions. Tip number 3, listen. Keep in mind that improving your listening skills will improve every single aspect of your leadership. This tip is key. Tip number 4, anticipate what's coming next. Great leaders always anticipate what's coming next and are using the skill to their strategic advantage. Tip number 5, make fear your friend. Fear is there to protect you, so explore what your fear is telling you and make sure you take action to remove those things from the table. Tip number 6, leverage your team and take partners. You'll always make better decisions when you rely on input from others. Taking partners is also crucial when things are uncertain. Tip number 7, invest in yourself. The best thing you can do if you want to improve your leadership is to invest in a coach. If you want to learn more about how coaching can help you take your leadership to the next level, please reach out to me. Tip number 8, practice extreme self-care. When you're dealing with pressure and stress, the best thing you can do for yourself is to practice extreme self-care. The better you feel, the better decisions you'll make. Tip number 9, realize that you can't fail. As I always say, there's no such thing as failure, only results. Keep that in mind when you're under the gun, as it will help you have the right perspective. Finally, tip number 10, practice empathy, not only for others, but for yourself. Having empathy will help you be a better leader, no matter what the situation is. So that wraps up today's podcast on how to be a great leader in times of uncertainty. If you found today's episode useful, you can also access a number of free resources that will help you improve your business as well as your leadership on my website at www.businesscoachchicago.com. Also, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, as I would love to connect with you. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the podcast, please click the subscribe button, leave a review, and of course, invite your friends to listen in as well. I'm Tom Kelly, and until next time, enjoy your week.
You've been listening to the Business Coach Unplugged Podcast. On this highly useful podcast for people in the business world, you get the absolute top-notch info from an absolute pro on how to elevate your business and your leadership skills. Tom Kelly owns Potential in Motion, coaching you to the edge of what's possible. He's also a professional speaker and leadership trainer. He's worked with some of the biggest names in the coaching business: Tony Robbins, Ken Blanchard, Jack Canfield, Brian Tracy. To sign up for a complimentary coaching session and to access some great free resources, hit the website at businesscoachchicago.com. Your success is not just a possibility, it's a certainty. See you next time on the Business Coach Unplugged Podcast.